Welcome to part 3 of our phases of dieting presentation. If you're watching this and you haven't seen the first 2 videos or you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and watch those first because a lot of what I'm talking about in here is going to rely on that information. Um, these phases do not always go in this order, but the first phase we did was the disease reversal phase, in which we talked about how reversing insulin resistance for a large percentage of the adult American population is step one for you to establish healthy metabolism. The second step for most people is, or a step that most people need to do, is establish enough calorie intake to fuel your body to be healthy. So many people that come to us want to lose weight, but they're low in energy. They're not sleeping well. They're in a high stress job. They're not exercising much. They're under muscled. If you're not feeling good and you're low in energy, that's a good sign that you're not fueling your body enough. Now, if we're going to take food away and try to cut calories to help you lose weight, it might not be a good time for that because you're not feeling good. Why am I going to take energy away if you don't have enough energy to begin with? So that was the reverse diet phase, which is kind of rebuilding your body. Now, this week we get to talk about the thing that everybody thinks they want. Most people really do need it. This is the diet phase or the fat loss phase. And you know, when you see advertisements for different programs on TV, this is what this is sort of where the money is, and this is what people are oftentimes seeking. So this is kind of a fun week to finally dive into this with everybody, and it's always a pleasure to finally get to this phase with a client. So who's a candidate for a diet phase? You know, pretty obvious. If you have fat to lose, whether it's a little bit of fat or it's a lot of fat, and if you want to improve your body composition, we've got to cut away from that fat to help you improve that body composition and get really healthy. But you're also only a candidate to go into a diet phase when you've established sufficient calorie intake and some consistency with your intake and with your habits. We could make a whole other presentation on, you know, when is the right time to diet. But really, you've got to get your ducks in a row if you're going to have a successful diet phase. And a lot of times as coaches, we kind of hold back a diet, even if somebody's like macros and food all looks like it's ready to diet. Sometimes our behaviors aren't quite there. Or sometimes you got a vacation coming up in 2 weeks, or you've got a really stressful presentation or week of work. If you're about to go into a really high stress situation, we're not going to pull energy away from you. We want you to fuel your body to be well. And then sometimes, you know, it's like just not a great time in your life for other reasons. So how do we accomplish a diet phase? Well, we reduce calorie intake. There's two kind of strategies for dieting that I'll go into in a second. They're called continuous dieting or intermittent dieting. And then we've got to maintain protein while you diet. I'll get on that in a second as well. And then how do we accomplish this? Well, I want you to, and I want all my clients to actually increase your daily movement. You know, usually we're not about like counting calories and burning calories in the gym to make sure you're losing the weight. But when you start to pull away calories, it is a good time to actually increase your movement and expenditure so that you can actually burn off a little bit of that fat. We do not neglect weight training and lifting during this phase. In fact, it's actually more important to keep lifting. The number one rule throughout your diet phase, the number one rule in biology is use it or lose it. If you're not fueling your muscles with food, you better be fueling your muscles with exercise, or else your muscles are going to say, well, I'm not being used and I don't have enough fuel to take care of me, so I'm going to go away. So you've got to maintain lifting through a diet phase. The duration, usually it's proportional to like your reverse diet or proportional to how much how high your calorie intake is before you start dieting. Totally individualized, and it depends on whether or not you're going to do a continuous or intermittent diet phase as well. So the goals of the diet phase obviously are to lose fat, not weight. We don't care about weight loss, we care about fat loss. Really, at the end of the day, that's what's going to make the big improvement on your health. And we use, all of our clients have that body composition scale. You should be taking those measurements so that we can measure over time, are you losing fat? You know, I don't care as much about the number on the scale, whether you're 170 or 180 isn't relevant to me. It's the proportion of fat that you have there. And then just as important, you know, I said earlier, this is the fat loss phase. It is, but it's also the muscle maintenance phase. We got to maintain muscle and lose fat. Maintaining muscle is critical to long-term weight maintenance and health. If you lose weight and 50% of it is fat and 50% of it is muscle, you've just done harm to your body rather than doing something good. Maybe in the short term, things look better. Maybe in the short term, you feel better. In the long term, that's going to catch up with you. So we keep track of losing fat on the body composition scale. One way we can keep track of whether you're maintaining muscle is the body composition scale, but we also have all of our clients with lifting charts where you can keep track of how heavy you're lifting in different movements. You should be able to maintain those. If the heaviest thing that you can press over your head is 40 pounds, during the diet phase, I don't ever expect you to get up to 50, but you shouldn't not be able to do 35. You should be able to stay within, 35, 40 pounds. You shouldn't be moving in the wrong direction there. Dieting is the most misunderstood phase. It's what people are always aiming for. It's what people are most likely to probably do incorrectly. And it's one of the things that's actually kind of heartbreaking as a coach, just things that I've seen in people's lives that don't work with me, and then things that I've seen with people that have been successful and then have maybe moved on. Very often I hear someone say, I know how to lose weight. I have success when I just cut calories. I'm trying to ask people to track their food. And they say, hey, let me just make it simple. I'm just going to cut calories. And then sometimes I'll follow up with them in a couple of weeks. They'll say, yeah, I'm doing great. I've lost 36 pounds in 10 weeks or 25 pounds in 8 weeks, whatever it is. Just some big number. Like, I'm feeling great. I'm losing weight. I'm doing awesome. And then I usually ask them, well, have you done this before? And oftentimes they say, yeah, well, usually I lose weight and then it all comes back. It's like, okay, so you say you've had success in the past, but the weight keeps coming back. I don't know how you define success, but that's not how I define success. Oftentimes people say, yeah, but it usually comes back. Then the weight does come back. And then they say, well, I know how to lose weight. I just have to cut calories. I guess I just need to cut calories again. And all the while in the background, they're losing muscle and they're just tanking their metabolism. So this, I would argue, is the wrong way to diet. And this is an oversimplistic way to diet, and it's going to set yourself up for success. And almost it's been the data is very clear that this way, the more you do this yo-yo diet thing, the more weight loss actually becomes a challenge. So what's a better way to diet? A better way to diet it's more complex, but it's not infinitely complex. It can still actually be pretty simple. So first of all, a better way to diet is within the context of all the phases. Are you insulin resistant? Are you moving? Are you exercising? You can't just day one wake up and say, I want to diet. Let's put it in context of what are your goals. Once you have done the other phases, once you've established some healthy behaviors and it's time to diet, then we make a decision. Are we going to do a continuous diet or an intermittent diet? And all of this will be reinforced with you in a one-on-one fashion to figure out what best fits your life. A continuous diet is probably what we've practiced the most in the future. It may or may not be the best. It just depends on who you are. Who's a good candidate for a continuous diet? A continuous diet is basically just a consistent restriction. So we say for 12 weeks, we're going to cut your calories and continue to cut your calories, and we'll see how low your weight goes. If you've got a wedding in 12 weeks and you want to look really good for it, a continuous diet might be your best option. If you've got like 10 pounds to lose or 15 pounds to lose and we can kind of get it all in one clip, maybe a continuous diet works. And if you're one of those people, one of those rare people, don't feel bad if this isn't you, but I've got some people, there's some percentage of clients who just nail everything you ask them. They always turn everything in on time. Everything looks perfect. Just step 1, step 2, step 3. If you really have no problem adhering, and if you're going to go on a vacation and you're like, hey, I'm going to track on vacation, I'm going to hit all my numbers, you might be a good candidate for continuous diet. Then there's an intermittent diet. An intermittent diet is consistently budgets in diet breaks, where you're basically dieting for maybe a month, and then you got about 2 weeks where you can go back to kind of a normal maintenance level. People who might be a good candidate for an intermittent diet are people with a large weight loss goal, just like, hey, I got to lose 60 pounds or more. I'm not going to be able to just drop 60 all in one go, but I could benefit from kind of a longer dietary intervention. Or, hey, I'd like to go on a diet right now, but I got a vacation coming up in 6 weeks. It's like, hey, perfect. Let's budget that in and let's let you have more of a normal week during that vacation. If you benefit from just kind of less restriction, and then if you are open to kind of a longer process, you might be a candidate for the intermittent diet. So continuous, like I said earlier, about 2 to 4 months of consistent calorie restriction where we maintain your protein. We're going to restrict your calories by taking away carbs and fat. And you've got to really adhere this whole time. You got to get psyched up. And you gotta budget in, hey, there's gonna be several months where I'm abstaining from the things I love, from beer, from cookies, from all that kind of stuff, from pasta sometimes. Then intermittent dieting. This is so yeah. Just real quick, this graph just shows, hey, we're going to consistently pretty much pull calories away, and your weight's going to come down. And the other way with this intermittent dieting, you're going to so the sort of brown line is your weight, and the green line is your calories. So this is what we call your like maintenance calories. These are the calories that you're eating where you are. Where your weight is basically stable. Everybody should be able to look at their spreadsheet. I'll look at your spreadsheet with you. This is a great homework for you, is what are your current maintenance calories? Everybody's got about 3 to 4 weeks usually where they don't lose any weight. When you find those 3 to 4 weeks, let's look at where your calories are. If you're not losing or gaining weight and you're eating 1,700 calories, hey, 1,700 calories is where your current maintenance is. Now, going back briefly, a reverse diet, the goal of a reverse diet is to raise your maintenance calories. I've got probably, more than half a dozen of y'all whose maintenance calories when we first started working together was about 1,200, and now your maintenance calories is about 2,000. That is awesome. So way to go, you guys, if that describes you. But let's say, for sake of argument, your maintenance calories are about 2,000, and you go into a diet phase. So, after a couple of weeks, we drop you in a diet phase. We drop your calories down to about, 1,700 maybe. That's a perfect start to a diet phase. We keep you there for about a month, and then we give you about 2 weeks. We say, hey, go back to 2,000 calories. You got a stressful week at work. Let's pump you back up in there. Get back into exercise. I hope you feel good. We're going to get back into it in 2 weeks. And we drop your calories again, a little bit lower than the previous month. You do another month of dieting, and then you get a break, and then another month of dieting, and then you get a break, and then another month of dieting, and you get a break. The cool thing about this is it allows your diet phase to go a lot longer. And in people who have a poor body composition, who are particularly higher in fat, they actually lose a significant higher percentage of fat when they do this methodology. Part of that could be that and they actually maintain a much faster metabolism. So part of that could be that that break just like helps you reset your mind. I think that's totally realistic. Part of it could be that there's actually something happening in your body that this is superior to the just continuous diet. I don't know. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as it works for you. If you're interested in this, it could be a really great strategy. Now, the key is, though, you do have to be sort of on in these months. We can't just do this randomly. You do kind of need to hit that maintenance level if you're on a break, and you do kind of need to diet. So there's still a lot of rules to this, but there's freedom built into those rules. So homework, if you're watching this video, shoot me a text or an email. Let me know what you think your maintenance calories are. I'll check you. And then think through if you think you're more interested in a continuous or an intermittent diet. But again, just the last word on this is the intermittent diet can allow you to diet for a lot longer. If you're one of those people that feels a little bit better when you're losing weight and you feel a little bit better when you're not having to eat so much food, this could be a really, really good kind of compromise for you. So real quick, signs of success for a diet phase. Again, fat loss with minimal decrease in strength, maximum fat loss, maximum muscle maintenance. While you're dieting, whether this is intermittent or continuous, if you're in that diet phase, you actually should experience a little bit of hunger because your body is literally being kind of robbed of energy. Fat loss of about 0.5 to 2 pounds per week is reasonable, no matter what phase you're in. Warning signs, if you have consistent rapid weight loss or no weight loss, if rapid weight loss could mean you're losing muscle or you're kind of setting yourself up for a crash diet. No weight loss could indicate that your body needs to just be maintained a little bit more and it's not quite ready. Or maybe your calories aren't high enough. Weight loss, but no visible change. A lot of times, this is why we have all of our clients take pictures I would love, if you're comfortable sharing with it, I'd love to see your body. Sometimes you'll see someone in a shirt and they're like, hey, I'm down 15 pounds, but I don't look any different. Now, usually this doesn't happen with our clients. We just always want to double check. Sometimes people are losing muscle underneath their fat and their body shape isn't changing. And then if you're unable to maintain your weight lifts, so like I talked about, if you could press 40 pounds overhead a couple of weeks ago, and now you're dragging to get 25 pounds over, it's going to be a good indication that we need to take a break, figure out what's going on, and then put you back into your diet once we've shored all that up. The next video is going to be on our phase 4 recovery, and it's like your recovery and reset phase. It's a time to find rest. And it's find peace in your health. That's a really exciting phase, and it's one that we got to budget in rest. You guys are working really, really hard. Even if you love working hard, you love the grind, you love tracking your food, all that kind of stuff. I would encourage everybody that you can't skip this phase. And so be on the lookout for this next video next week. Thanks for your time. Let me know what you find when you look at your maintenance calories, and let me know if you're interested in continuous or intermittent dieting. If you've just began a diet, we'll just keep the line open, and we'll see if you're a good candidate for either, just based on how you feel.